and light family, I hope that you are well. So as promised, I told you guys that I will be coming to you with the video explaining any and everything you need to know about menstrual cups. This is my actual personal menstrual cup, and I've had this one for about 8 months now, so it's almost time for a new one. You are supposed to replace them once a year, but I am dedicated to my menstrual cup. I love it, and it has completely changed how my periods affect me. When I was younger, I got my period for the first time when I was 9, almost 10 years old, and it was brutal. I used to have cramps really bad. I used to get cramps so bad, sometimes it would cause me to start throwing up. It was like really bad. My period would last about 7 days. I was a very heavy bleeder. Of course, when I was younger, I would wear pads, and I would have to wear 2 pads at one time. Like, I would have to get the super overnights, and I would place 1 pad like this and 1 pad like this so I can get front to back coverage, because I would bleed so heavy that sometimes it would run up the back and leak, it'd run up the front and leak. It was just bad. So I used to almost have to basically wear Pampers. Serious situation. And my menstrual cycle was like that every month from about the age of 9 until about the age of 25 when I started using the menstrual cup. It was serious. I had tried everything from switching from different types of pads to tampons, and tampons, honestly, it made my cramping worse. It definitely like helped decrease the messiness of my period, but it absolutely made my cramping worse, and I didn't know why until I discovered the menstrual cup. So I had heard a lot about the menstrual cup. I started doing a lot of research, figuring out like, what is it, how does it work, and why do people say it helps so much? I heard like, it will decrease your cramping, it helps your periods lighten up. It also decreases the amount of days you have your period, and that was everything I wanted. I wanted less cramps, I wanted shorter periods, and I wanted my periods to lighten up some. So I was like, okay, let me try this thing out and see what it is. Now, initially, when I first started doing research, I was like, what? Like, the blood is gonna collect into a cup and then I'm gonna have to pull it out and dump it and wash it out? Like, what? But honestly, although I had very brutal periods, I had a very positive relationship with my menstrual. I never saw it as a gross and disgusting thing. So that is one thing I will say. If you feel like blood is gross and disgusting and you don't want to see your blood, you don't want to touch your menstrual blood, the menstrual cup may not necessarily be for you. However, if you do not mind coming in contact with your menstrual blood or looking at it, or if you find it fascinating, like I did, I always thought it was pretty fascinating, then the menstrual cup is definitely for you. So just diving straight into it, some pros about the menstrual cup is it shortened my period from 7 days. I used to bleed from 7 to 8 days to now my cycle lasts about 3 to 4 days. So it literally cut my cycle in half. And a large reason that happens is because your menstrual cup is inserted into your vagina, and it allows your vagina to open up. It sits right below the cervix. Now, the thing about it sitting right below the cervix is that the reason that we have cramps and the reason that our blood takes a long time to release is because when you're wearing tampons, you're stopping it up. So you have your cervix and your vagina, and you're stuffing a tampon in there, and you're stopping it up. So you're stopping your blood from being able to flow freely. However, when you have a menstrual cup, as opposed to stopping it up, you're opening it up. So this cup is open, and it's allowing the blood to flow more freely. Therefore, the blood can flow freely, the cycle decreases because it's not taking as long for the blood to be able to flow out. Additionally, it decreases cramping, because the only reason our body cramps is because normally what's happening is your body is trying to pass a blood clot. All women have clots when they are on their menstrual. Some are smaller, some are bigger. If you have really huge clots, that can definitely be a warning sign for various issues. So you may want to see a doctor, or you may want to just, change your diet, eat much better, more fruits and vegetables, be mindful of the medications that you could be taking, or certain vitamins you could be taking that could be causing your blood to thicken and clot. Just be very careful about that. But the reason that we cramp is that our body is trying to pass a clot. Well, when you are using a menstrual cup, because you are opening up that vagina and you are allowing the blood to flow freely, it is allowing the body to open up so it does not have to contract So normally your vagina muscles are trying to contract to pass the clot. You don't have to do that because it's already open. Therefore, the clot is able to freely flow and pass. So I literally do not have an issue with cramping at all when I'm on my period anymore. I used to have really bad cramps. Now I don't have to cramp at all. I don't even purchase like Midol or ibuprofen or anything. The menstrual cup has helped decrease cramping a lot. Another great benefit of the menstrual cup is that just the amount of cleanliness, I feel like it's, for me, although yes, you are dealing with like a cup full of blood, it is much less messy for me than using a pad or a tampon. I don't have any waste to throw away, so it decreases waste. It's great for the environment, extremely eco-friendly, and it also, you get to save some money, right? Buying pads and tampons over the time, you can spend anywhere from $100 to $200 on pads and tampons in a year. One menstrual cup can last you a year, and one menstrual cup right now runs anywhere between $20 to $40. When they first came out and they first became very popular, they were about $40. This is a Diva cup. I use Diva cup brand. I paid $40 for my very first Diva cup. This is my third one, and I paid $25 for this one. So the price is definitely decreasing. You can pick it up at CVS or Walgreens, GNC. Maybe not GNC. CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, any pharmacy, any of your local grocers. GNC may have it. I think they have it, but I don't want to say for sure they have it, and I'm not sure. But yeah, you can pick it up at any of your local grocer that sells like any type of sanitary napkins or anything for women. Most of them have it. I bought this one from Walmart, but I purchased my first one from CVS. So yeah, $20 to $40, you get to save some money. And once again, it's just very convenient. Lasts up to 12 hours. You can keep your menstrual cup in for up to 12 hours versus a tampon where you have to change it every 3 to 4 hours. I know when I was on my menstrual and I was bleeding very heavy, I used to have to change my tampon every 2 hours. And anytime that I went to pee, I would change my tampon. So at least every 2 hours I was changing, and every time I went to pee or anything, I definitely would change my tampon. You can keep this in for up to 12 hours. And because it is fully inserted, what happens is you just have this little portion that is at the base of your vagina, and you will know it's time to change your menstrual cup because this will start to feel heavy. It'll start to feel weighed down, and you'll be able to feel more of this at the base of your vagina. Just in order to be able to change it, I hope you guys can see that. In order to change your menstrual cup or take it out and clean it, you just need to take your 2 fingers, you pinch the bottom, and you just pull it out. That's it. You just pull it out, right? So when you pull it out, it'll be full of blood. You dump, wash it out, you wash up, you fold it, you insert it back in, boom, 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 and you heard the pop. It'll pop open, you know it's ready. I'm actually gonna show you a video after this of the insertion process and the removal process and the cleaning process and all that stuff. Now, honestly, a con of the menstrual cup that I have experienced, so I've done pros, decreased shortens the amount of days I'm on my period, decreased cramping, lasts up to 12 hours, so it lasts much longer throughout the day. I can literally wear my menstrual cup for the entire work day and then come home and dump it and stuff when I come home, even on my heaviest of days. I also don't bleed as heavy anymore. Once again, it costs less, very eco-friendly. So just overall, menstrual cup is great, 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 great. Please use one if you can. Has greatly helped my period, but there are some cons to it. So a con to the menstrual cup, number one, I'm going to speak about if you are just starting to use a menstrual cup, it will take a while to understand how to insert it properly. I didn't know anyone who was using a menstrual cup. I was the only person that I knew that had a menstrual cup was even considering using this. When I would talk to my friends and family, they'll be like, oh my God, that is disgusting. Like dumping your blood. Oh my God, that's nasty. So I didn't know anything or anyone who had a menstrual cup. I didn't know anything about it. So I was just like trying to Google and trying to figure out how to put it in. And I tried the C-fold, which the C-fold is when you fold it like this and you put it in. I tried the tuck, which the tuck is when you pinch one part down and you put it in and it pops open. I was trying everything, and it took me a while to learn how to put it in. Even once I did finally get it in, I found that I suffered from a lot of leaking. So I would leak a lot to the point that it was multiple times where I was just like, you know what, fuck this. I'm just going to go back to tampons and I would just go back to tampons. It wasn't until about my third cycle of really genuinely giving it a shot that I figured out my personal hack on how to easily insert a menstrual cup, and I'll share that later on in the video. So my personal hack to easily insert a menstrual cup, I'll help you guys out with that. But yeah, that was the only con of my menstrual cup in the beginning, was understanding how to properly insert it, and the fact that it took me about 3 cycles to get it right, and in between those 3 cycles there was a lot of leakage. Okay, speaking of leakage, my second con of having a menstrual cup is when I wear it at night. If I sleep for about 8 hours, and when I go to stand up, because naturally when you're sleeping you're laying down, so your cup is sideways. When I go to stand up, if I stand up too quickly, I will definitely have leaking, because the blood, I guess, is flooding the cup too soon, or I don't know what's happening, but sometimes I will honestly have some leaking, and I will think that maybe the cup is overflowing, but when I pull a cup out, it's about this much blood, and the rest of the blood has just leaked past the cup. So that's something that I have definitely experienced. I haven't experienced it in a while, but like my first couple of years of using menstrual cups, that definitely was happening. Now what I just do is in the middle of the night, I get up and I definitely like change my menstrual cup. And then I also, when I wake up in the morning, I am very conscious about how fast I get up. Like, I don't just sit straight up in the bed. I will like turn, I ease, I prepare, like, blood slowly please leak into the menstrual cup and get ready. Okay, we're up. And I honestly, I haven't experienced that in a while, and I think it's because I ease my way up as opposed to just sitting straight up. But yeah, that's another con. The third con of the menstrual cup is the discoloration. Over time, you will have discoloration of your menstrual cup, and it's just oxidation over time. So the menstrual cup is made of silicone, surgical grade silicone, very healthy for the body. No issues. It's hypoallergenic, so you don't have to worry about having like a reaction. Decreases vaginal odor. You don't have to worry about having a smell, because once again, surgical grade silicone, it's holding all the blood. Your blood is never touching the oxygen, so you don't have to worry about having like a period blood scent or anything. It's great with that, but there will be some discoloration over time due to oxidation. However, you can remove that discoloration, and I'll also insert that at another video in the end. Discoloration is a con. Another con of having a menstrual cup, honestly, you guys, I haven't experienced this. A lot of women have complained about this though. There are forums about this. Some women say that their menstrual cup starts to smell over time. They say that it starts to like develop an odor. I have never experienced that ever with my menstrual cup. And once again, I've been using it since 25. This is my third one. I change it once a year. Never, even at the end of the year, like I still have my old menstrual cups and they don't have a smell. I've never experienced that. But a lot of women say they do experience their menstrual cup developing a smell over time. If your menstrual cup develops a smell, you can soak your menstrual cup in 1/3, the ratio, 1/3 vinegar to 2/3 water, and you soak your menstrual cup in there for about an hour, and it will completely get rid of the smell. Vinegar and water solution, 1/3 vinegar, 2/3 water, it'll completely get rid of the smell of your menstrual cup. Also, in order to remove the discoloration, 1/3 hydrogen peroxide, 2/3 water, which I'll show you at the end, is the process that I use to kind of reduce down the discoloration that was in my menstrual cup. You'll be able to see in the video that I'm going to show directly after this how discolored my menstrual cup was and how I kind of restored the color to this point. But yeah, so that's it. The cons, honestly, are very light cons. The pros absolutely outweigh the cons. I am a proud menstrual cup user. I haven't tried anything else since then. But yeah, try the menstrual cup, you guys. Also, stay tuned to this video. I am going to give you a warning. The videos get pretty graphic. If you are squeamish to blood, please do not watch. Okay? Peace, y'all. And light family, so this is how I insert my menstrual cup. I have my very clean washed out menstrual cup here. It's a bit discolored, but I hadn't done the color restoration process. You'll see that later on. To lube up my menstrual cup, I use extra virgin organic coconut oil by Dr. Bronner's. This is the best lube that has worked for me. They say that you are supposed to use water-based lubes only, but honestly, the coconut oil is the only thing that has helped me insert my menstrual cup properly. I'm just being 100% honest. So I just take a little bit of coconut oil, I put it all around the sides of the menstrual cup, and I put it at the top rim of the menstrual cup. The reason you want to make sure your menstrual cup is lubed up is because it is going to have to slide in place on its own. A large reason that a lot of women have leaks is because their menstrual cup is not sliding into place on its own. When you use the coconut oil as a base, or excuse me, as a lube for the menstrual cup, it helps it slide into place. I choose to use the C-fold. The C-fold works best for me. So what I simply do is I just take my two fingers, I push down the middle of the menstrual cup, and I take the sides and fold them up, and you'll see it has a C shape. That's why they call it the C-fold. So I'm going to show you how I do it again. I simply take my two fingers, I push down the middle of the menstrual cup so that it is flat, and then I take my other fingers and I fold it up the sides, and you see it is in a C shape. That's why they call it a C-fold. Now, right now, you're like, oh, how are you going to put that in your vagina with your fingers like that? I'm showing you how. I simply just fold it together. I remove my finger out of the middle of the menstrual cup, bring it to the side, and now I'm just holding it with one hand, and it is in a perfect C shape. So I'm going to use my other hand and imitate as though it's a vagina, and I'm inserting the menstrual cup in, and it'll pop open, and because it's oiled up and lubed up, it'll naturally slide in place on its own once it's in your vagina. The menstrual cup sits at the base of the cervix. That coconut oil will simply just help it pop open and slide in place on its own so that it sits perfectly where you will not have any leakage. So you're going to see me insert it in my vagina. I'm not going to actually show you my vagina, but this is me inserting it in my vagina. You see, I was just holding the cup. I am inserting it, pop, and it's in there. My hands are clear, no menstrual cup in sight because I literally just inserted it. Once you get it down pat, insertion takes about 10 seconds max. It is wonderful. Now here, this is my very full menstrual cup. So I told you guys this video was going to be graphic, but this is how I clean my menstrual cup. I dump the blood out, and as you see, like, you get a very clear visual of your blood, which I think is great because your menstrual blood can tell you a lot about what's going on in your body. If you have too much clotting, if your blood is too light or too dark, if it's a jelly consistency as opposed to being loose, you will know and you will be able to tell if there's a problem. As you see, the cleaning process is very easy. Now, I dumped it in the sink just so that you guys can see the consistency of the blood, and but I just dump it straight down the drain, and that's just off of rinsing. You see, I just rinsed it out, but I would normally wash it out. So to wash my menstrual cup, I will use Dr. Bronner's Castile soap, which is safe on surgical silicone, but some people prefer to use vinegar as a wash. They do a vinegar wash. Some people prefer to use menstrual cup wash. They have specific washes for menstrual cups. I just use my regular Dr. Bronner's Castile soap, and I haven't had any issues with that. But you saw less than 30 seconds and the menstrual cup is completely rinsed clean. No problems, no issues. I use Diva Cup brand. It's fine. Now, in the cons, I spoke on discoloration of the menstrual cup being an issue. Now, the only reason discoloration is the issue is because of oxidation. It does not mean the menstrual cup is dirty or unusable. It's just simple oxidation on the surgical grade silicone, which happens to any surgical grade silicone, whether you're using it for menstrual blood or not. It will turn color. So what you have to do is restore the color. It gets kind of like a brownish tint to it from the oxidation. All you simply need is hydrogen peroxide. So I bought some hydrogen peroxide from the store. This bottle was like $1. And you want to make sure that it's 3% stabilized hydrogen peroxide, 3% stabilized hydrogen peroxide. And you want to make a solution of about 1/3 hydrogen peroxide to 2/3 water. So I place 1/3 of the 3% hydrogen peroxide into 2/3 water, and I I create a solution. Once again, 1/3 hydrogen peroxide to 2/3 water, and then you want to completely submerge your menstrual cup. And excuse all of the smoke. It's not actually smoke, it's my diffuser, so it's a mist from the diffuser. But yeah, so you want to make sure the menstrual cup is fully submerged. I am placing the menstrual cup in and I am pushing it down so that I can make sure the menstrual cup is full with the solution, and then it'll sink down to the bottom and it'll completely submerge. If you look close, you can already see the hydrogen peroxide taking effect. You see kind of like small bubbles starting to surface at the bottom of the cup, as well as starting to go up to the top of the cup if you look really closely. They say that you are supposed to allow it to sit for 1 hour, so I'm going to allow it to sit for 1 hour, and we will see how it goes. This is my first time doing this, honestly, you guys, so this is like new for me as well. I was very curious, so I was like looking at the top, looking at the bottom, and honestly, like over time, it was a very slow process. I'm not sure if I didn't maybe put enough hydrogen peroxide. I did 1/3 hydrogen peroxide to 2/3 water with the 3% stabilized hydrogen peroxide, but I noticed that the bubbles weren't forming as quickly as I thought that they would. But you see there's some bubbles at the bottom and there's some floating at the top. So I let it sit for about 1 hour, and these are the results. So you see here, it is completely covered with the oxidized bubbles. Yes, all of the bubbles are around the glass, all over the menstrual cup. Some have traveled to the top, and you can really see that the menstrual cup is definitely much lighter. So some of the color is gone, but I was like, it's not as clear as I thought it was going to be. When I first bought my menstrual cup, it was like completely clear. So I was like, maybe this process doesn't really work the way they said it would. So honestly, initially I was a bit disappointed. I had let it sit for an hour, and then after the hour, I noticed that it was still about this color, so I let it sit for like 20 more minutes. However, I didn't realize that I had to wipe it down. So once I took it out of the solution, I wiped it down, and definitely the color was much more restored. So this is the final product of the menstrual cup. This is how it completely looks after I wiped it down. And it's pretty much restored. Now, I'm used to it all being clear, how you see that middle area is where around my thumb. I'm used to it being about that clear. Around the rim, there's still some oxidation, and along the bottom, there's still a little bit of oxidation, but it looks much better than it initially did. Hope this video was helpful, family. If you have any other questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll be happy to answer directly, or I may create a whole separate video about your question or comment. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for supporting. I appreciate your energy. Much love.